Smoke. OVS. Old Virginia Smoke.
This podcast is brought to you by the Kansas City Barbecue Store, the official provider of barbecue supplies to listeners of Pitmaster. It's fall, it's football season, and holidays are right around the bend. That doesn't mean that the grilling and smoking stops. From smokers and fuel to rubs and sauces, the Kansas City Barbecue Store has everything and anything you could want. Make the Kansas City Barbecue Store your one-stop shop for all your outdoor cooking needs. As a listener of the Old Virginia Smoke Pitmaster podcast, you can get 10% off of your order this fall by using the code PITPOD, PITPOD, for online orders at www.thekansascitybbqstore.com. So keep on smoking, folks. All right, welcome to this new edition, post-royal, of Pitmaster and Old Virginia Smoke podcast. I'm Luke Darnell, and I'm here with Grant Basiliere from QU. How's it going, buddy?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. What's it like to be thrust into the forefront of the barbecue world?
Yeah, it's wild for sure. I've talked to a lot of people, more talking I've done in a while, especially on some of these podcasts and Zooms. I've never really done a Zoom call ever, so this is kind of new, but it's been great, and the response has been a little overwhelming, but very well received. I'm blessed. This has been awesome.
That's very cool, man. And I've seen that you've done a couple of the other shows with Brian and the Tailgate guys, and that's really neat. And it's funny because we were sitting there at awards, and I don't even know if I'm supposed to tell this story, but I'm going to tell it anyway. So we always sit in the back, and it's me and Darren and Justin from Lucky's Q and the Shiggin guys, and Anella sang the national anthem. Well, then she came back there and sat down. And we're sitting there through the awards and everything. Well, because of where she was back there, she kind of knew what was going on. and we even had a conversation mid-awards, like we're talking about who's going to win. And I looked at Darren and I said, has anyone ever done this? I don't know that. And he goes, no, it's pretty much statistically impossible.
Right.
But here I am talking to the only person of all time that's won both the Invitational and the Open. It's incredible, man.
Super, super lucky, super fortunate. You did well too. Didn't you get 10th overall day one?
Yeah, we were 10th day one. We were 40th day two.
That's awesome. You had a high call in something day one, wasn't it?
20th brisket.
20th brisket?
Yeah, which I had a couple of goals going into the Royal. I'd never heard my name during the Invitational, and I'd never gotten a brisket call. So I knocked both of those things out, which was pretty neat.
Awesome. I saw this weekend, too, you cooked in Harrisburg.
Yeah, man. So, funny story. Kim got COVID out at the Royal, and this was a contest that she wanted to go to more than I did.
You've never done it before?
Never done it before. I wanted to take the weekend off. And so here we are signed up, and she can't go.
Down and out.
Yeah, and I'm having to, I'm very upfront and honest about how much Kim does on the team. Like, I haven't made her a sauce or an injection in 8 years. And so, yeah, so here she is stuck in the bedroom, and I've got her quarantined, and I'm texting up questions like, I don't know how to do this. This has
been a while.
Yeah, and then have to go cook by myself. Luckily, I had my cousin Aaron came and ran boxes for me. But
awesome. I saw you did well. I only bring it up because I'm from Hershey, Pennsylvania originally.
Oh, really?
I've always wanted to do that Keystone Classic. I never got around to it, but I've always wanted to get there. And it's at the Farm Show Center or complex.
Yes,
right?
It is.
Yeah.
And while there's a livestock show going on.
That's awesome.
So you go into the complex, that's the only restroom, and you walk in and it just is a restroom for horses. So you have to go to a bathroom to get to the bathroom. And I'm also really allergic to horses. So I walk in there and I'm like, my gosh, what is going on? That I see like all these horses. I'm like, oh no, it's bad. Right in the middle of prep, I get back. I just prepped pork and I had to lay down for an hour.
Holy shit, really? Oh man, I think it was just the horses, not COVID.
Yeah, yeah. It's a fun contest. The people of that part of Pennsylvania are just amazing people, and John from Chunky and his wife Stephanie, they live right there near Hershey. So,
Oh,
um,
awesome.
yeah. So it was a lot of fun, and we'll cook again this weekend, and we'll see how it goes.
Where are you at this weekend?
Bel Air, Maryland.
Cool.
Sort of it was a last minute thing that we're going to be able to do. So, what are you cooking next?
I'm cooking this weekend as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, out towards it's the best one of the year for me. It's only about 20 minutes from my house, 20 minutes from where I work. So we just got done cleaning the trailer today and the pits, and I love doing this competition. It's awesome. It's
Which one is it?
Pumpkin Chunkin'.
Oh yeah.
They've been doing it. They've been doing it for a while. They've been doing it. I think maybe 10 years. So I'm looking forward to getting there and seeing all my friends. It'll be fun.
That one has been on our bucket list for a while. And we definitely need to get back up to that part of the country and cooked. And I went and I looked on barbecue data to see if we had ever competed against each other before, and we had at the Gold Ribbon. I have it pulled up. The Gold Ribbon.
We've done Murfreesboro together. You probably don't remember. We were at the afterwards at the bar right there at the restaurant, and I walked by, and you were with the Porky Butts dude, who's just funnier than hell, and you guys were cutting up. And I come by, I was like, that's the best beard and barbecue right there. And I tugged on it. He smiled. I was like, yeah, man, yeah, we were all tuned up though. It was yeah. I've cooked at Murfreesboro with you a couple
That's
years.
true. Yeah,
Maybe 19.
Murfreesboro is another one I got to get back to. That is
Dude,
and that's
we did it. We did it this year again, and because my wife, she went to Southern Illinois, so she loves that. We go down there and she tears it up. We have a lot of fun, but we've got back there for the first time since we went, and we had a blast. That competition's awesome. I love going down there.
I tell people all the time, like, that's one of the ones that as a pit master everybody should go and do once.
Totally.
At least, and just to be there and to see the scene at awards is hilarious. And
I think the best trophies in competition for sure.
It is the only third place, or is it third place? I got fifth place pork and finished third place overall. But it's the only fifth place trophy that is in my bar area. Is that little apple?
That's awesome.
Well, let's jump into the questions, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm super excited to ask these.
I hope I'm not repeating myself, though. I've done a couple of these, so if your listeners are pretty burned out, I'll try to jazz them up a little bit better than, I don't know.
Well, if other people have asked you these questions and they're stealing from my podcast, so that's fair. Confidence. To go win the American Royal twice, you got to be really confident in what you're cooking. Where does that confidence come from?
Repetition, I guess. I mean, it's a great question, but I don't consider myself a very confident person. I've cooked my whole life, and that helps. But as far as what we came in, our product was pretty awesome. We came across this awesome case of pork butts just that Monday before the Royal, and I'm breaking them down, and it was just like, dude, like somebody was just threw me a bone. So we were pumped on that. Great ribs, chicken's chicken, and briskets were just, we kind of threw some in the freezer that looked a little better than others. You kind of look through the cryovac and you see a little bit more white than red. You put those aside. But I think it's just repetition, just doing it and trusting your timelines. And that's kind of how we went into this weekend for sure. Last weekend or whenever.
You said you've been cooking your whole life. Is that your career?
Yeah, man. Yep.
Okay. How has that experience prepared you to do competition barbecue?
Yeah, the question's been asked, and it's like it keeps you organized. It keeps you, attention to detail, all the little things that goes on in the kitchen. But it's really helped me out, cooking these competitions and bringing it back. Because right now I'm working for a corporate headquarters up in Wisconsin, Uline Shipping Supplies.
Yeah,
and they're great. It's a great clientele. It's a Monday through Friday kind of breakfast lunch thing. So you got to kind of work with your clientele. So I've introduced a ton of smoked meats into the menus. It's been well received. I bring all the tricks from the competition world into the kitchen.
Nice.
All the fabrications, all that. I have a dinner coming up next week, and I'm just going to do money muscle. You know what I mean? I'm just going to do a slice of money muscle on the plate, and I'm just going to do like a seasonal kind of like a slaw or whatnot.
That's
It's
cool.
kind of what they expect right now. So I'm going to try to kind of fuse it with some a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But no, it's worked out for the best on both sides of the spectrum.
And I gotta imagine that being well versed in mise en place is very helpful in competition barbecue. I know the more that I dive into the chef world and learn about that, especially this past weekend that I was by myself, so I was up till 11:30 just making sure everything was where it needed to be the next day, so I didn't have to think about it.
Yep, you nailed the definition. Yep, things need to be where they need to be.
I was so scared too, man. I don't cook by myself. So we all know how awesome you are, but one of my favorite questions is, do you have a failure or a favorite failure of yours during your competition where something went wrong that set you up for a later success?
A couple times, I had a temperature gauge go out that I just wasn't paying attention to. I don't know how. I just wasn't. And that pork that I tried to turn in was just rock hard. I sliced it as like sashimi. Like it was sliced very, very. So I pay attention a little bit more to my temperature gauges. This was a while ago. But other than that, big misses. No, I mean, you just kind of roll with the punches. If it throws you right hook, you just kind of you bounce back and you try to figure it out. So, but no, that one for sure stands out. But we've been lucky and pretty fortunate that we haven't had any epic failures. That's for sure.
That's good, and definitely not the rule. I've had several, and we're coming up close to the 100th episode of this podcast, which is my producer is going to interview me.
That's awesome, man! Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, because I'm new to that the barbecue data thing, because I wanted to kind of sharpen up on I didn't know how many we've done and this and that, and then I start looking up all my buddies, and then I looked up you, dude. You've done a ton of competitions.
Yeah,
that's incredible. You started 13. It looked like
2013. Yeah, I forget what number we're up to now. It's like 230.
I saw it was like 260 something
or 260. Yeah,
that is a ton of competitions, man.
We went really hard for a few years there, and I keep telling Kim I want to do it one more time. Like I want to cook,
go all in.
Well, the times that we were doing 35 to 40 a year, I wasn't nearly the cook that I am now. I wasn't ready for what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I think now I have a better mindset for it and better game for it,
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. I got to keep the business rolling and keep that off the ground first. And there'll be time. I don't think
I loved you on the Food Network show, man. You're the best. I'm surprised I didn't get back to you and just keep on coming on.
It was this past weekend at Harrisburg. I went over and met this young kid that was cooking steak and just finding out what he was there with his girlfriend and his mom, and I was just walking by and I'm like, hey, what are you doing? I turned my hat around and his jaw dropped and he was like, you're old Virginia Smoke.
That's awesome.
And I went, yeah. He goes, I saw you on TV. And I'm like, oh, that's horrible. And then I came back through later just walking by and he asked if he could take a picture, and then, oh my
awesome,
God.
Man.
Yeah, it was.
You were great on the show. You were awesome. Did it throw your game off, them being right in your face?
Not at all. Not at all. They did a great job of staying out of your way and not making you repeat things, not asking you to like, hey, can you do that again, or can you open the cooker again? There was none of that. They were really, really gracious with it, and they really did a good job. I
love Michael Simon. What a great host for that.
And he's about as real as it gets.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's what you see is what you get. He's hilarious. He's funny. The laugh kills you. And he told me Saturday night, he goes, I'm going to be in this trailer at 5 a.m. There better be fucking coffee. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, there's no way Hollywood's going to show up at 5. And he did. And,
Oh, that's great.
so I had to give him coffee. Yeah.
Very cool.
So when you first started out, what were some of the most worthwhile and best investments that you made in competition barbecue?
I first started out, so we first started out in 17, and I was just, we had weekends off, so we got some drums and we went out there, and I watched some YouTube videos of what was the guy's name, Tom from All Barbecue or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he had some YouTube videos. We were breaking down pork butts into 3 sections and doing all this, and we kind of went. That was our kind of what we did there. It was that first season was awesome. I was actually fortunate to cook with Tim from Shake and Bake. I got into his trailer. I think it was 18 or 19. He was up doing Masters in May. So we went up there, hung out with him. Great dude. He's awesome. A lot of fun. And just kind of, sat there, and we call it stage kind of in the industry. We just kind of went and just hung out and kind of saw his timelines, how he kind of broke down, fabricated. That helped out big time. So I was very, very lucky in that kind of, and watching him cook and seeing how he plates up. I mean, those boxes that he presents are just beautiful. So that helped out big time. Other than that, we were just doing what everybody else is doing.
Man, watching Tim cook is something, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a great cook. It's awesome. Yeah.
People have asked me what it's like, and I'm like, the best way I can describe it is like watching some sort of mad scientist / Da Vinci.
Yeah.
Like, you don't think it's going to work, but it does. And then it ends up coming out beautiful.
And then all of a sudden that box is just perfect.
Yep. And there's no better finisher in the game than him. He's unbelievable with taste at the end. And I can't wait to see what he does next in terms of the products and the sauces. There's so much great stuff that he's got coming out. It's going to be really good.
Yep, I agree.
So do you have a purchase of yours that's $100 or less that is like a great tool and something that, that really pushes your game forward?
Oh, a tool? I was going to say chicken's cheap. Even pork right now, I'm getting it pretty cheap. A tool? No, not necessarily. That's a pretty good question. I cook on those cans. And I feed it charcoal, and I just kind of let it do its thing. Tool? That's a good question. No, not really. I'm pretty simple when it comes to the cooking process. That's for sure.
Some of my favorites for this are the using the freezer paper to put it down on the table. Makes cleanup easy. Oh, it's so good.
Nice.
The butter cutter. Are you familiar with the butter cutter?
I don't know the butter cutter. No.
Dude, I'm going to send you a butter cutter. The butter cutter will change your life.
I like it. Yeah.
It's just this thing. It's like this big, and it's got these tines. You go like this, perfect slices of butter. It's amazing.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, I love butter cutter. I think this show has sold more butter cutters than butter cutter. It's
that's awesome.
It's fantastic. So you don't use a lot of like technology in your approach or anything. You're just pretty much a light the drum and let her go.
Yep. That's about it.
That's awesome. So do you think, are you more of a feel cook? Are you a timeline cook, or is it kind of a mixture of both?
It's a mixture of both, but I really like when my timeline hits and I only have to check it once or maybe twice and you're just done. That's a good feeling when you hit those pork butts on your timeline, if they're coming off when they need to come off, and they're done,
Yeah.
Let them rest, put them in the Cambro. I use a thermometer, but it's gotta feel right too. You gotta give it a little extra if it needs it, if it feels like it. But no, for the most part, I rely on my timelines big time.
I had to, yeah. And man, it's so hard when you have to make that gut call though. I had one rack of ribs that was my best rack this past weekend, and I pulled it out, tempted, it was right, but it didn't feel just right. So I threw it back in, and then I got 10th place ribs and I got a mushy comment card. And it
Oh shit, that sucks.
kind of cost, and I'm like, I spent 3 hours driving home. Like,
Should've told
man,
her.
what did you do?
Yeah. We've all been there so many times.
Gosh,
Yep,
and
that's for
yeah,
sure.
and that'll be the first time that Kim hears that because I haven't told her yet. So when she listens to the podcast, she'll hear that. Um, when you hear the word successful in terms of barbecue, who's the first person who comes to mind?
Successful, I guess the big boys right now, that's been doing it for the past, 8 years. I don't know, especially, I mean, you got, shake and bake and the getting basted and slaps and, there's some of my boys that I hang out with all the time, barbecue buses,
Oh
they're out
God,
there.
those guys.
Yeah, just slaying. They go out, especially last year. I thought it was going to kill Brian. He was out every other weekend. So yeah, the big boys that's that you see out there consistently every weekend, which I don't know how they do it. Good for them, but that's where it's the guys that are competing every weekend and grinding and going for it. So I would say those guys.
Yeah, this is the first year where I really got to know the barbecue bus guys, and they gave me a burn end up in Michigan that about knocked me out of my chair.
Oh yeah,
nice. I still tell people all the time that's the best burn end I've ever had.
No shit. You should tell them to put it in the box more often. They never do.
Yeah, they did that day, and they kicked
they
my
did.
ass.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So when you have an issue, when you have a barbecue issue, who do you call? Who do you call for help, or to run an idea by?
Barbecue issue. We have a good core group that we cook with, especially in this area. Eric from Big E, the Rusty Pig Boys. I've kind of peeked over their shoulders a couple different times to pick up, a little this, little that. Rich IBQing, Mark Smoking Aces, all my boys, Blue Island. We kind of bounce back and forth with what we're doing or kind of what's trending. Like you hear we're barbecue guys, we overthink everything. Like, what the most recent thing is tight pork. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like tight pork. I'm like, oh gosh. So and I'm sure some of it's true. You know what I mean?
What is tight pork?
I don't know. A couple weeks they weren't digging the soft pork, and you don't take it too soft. I think it was in Murfreesboro or somewhere. Like, don't take it as far. Tighten it up a little bit. I'm just like, oh my god, I'm gonna cook it like I'm gonna cook. But those guys, that group guys that I see every other weekend, or not so much anymore, but the local guys, we kind of sit back and forth and we just talk barbecue and we overthink everything.
Tight pork.
Yeah.
that might be the title of this episode. I always let the producer, and he'll hear tight pork, and he'll probably make that the title.
Don't cook it. They don't want soft pork. They want tighten it up a little bit. I'm like, what the hell are you guys talking about? This is stupid. Let's just cook.
Hey man, now that I know what you're talking about, I had a judge cook in my trailer a couple of weeks ago, and I went to slice my money muscle, and he went, no. That's way too thick.
That's what somebody just said to me too.
He goes, you need to thin that thing up a little bit. And I went, what? Why does that matter? You know?
Totally. I just somebody said the same thing to me when I let them taste it. It's like, ooh, that's pretty thick. I'm like, I don't know. That's what I've been doing. I don't know.
Right. And I sliced it thin that day just because he was in the trailer and ended up with like third place pork. I was like,
that's funny because my pork, because I was with the Rusty Pig Boys down in Murfreesboro and we never exchanged food, but we were back and forth. We were like right next to each other. And this was the whole tight pork conversation. And I go over, I was just like, I just want to, I was pumped about our pork. I go over, give it to them, and they're like, oh, that's good. They give me a piece of their pork. I'm like, oh, dude, that's unbelievable pork. I can't believe how good that is. It was a little bit more savory than mine, which I'm so sick of eating my barbecue week in and week out. So it's good to have something else, and I actually was excited about it. And then come to find out, so we are 7 and 8 on our table in pork.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we loved our pork. Yeah, so yeah, you never know. You never know.
Tight pork.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be in my head all week. This podcast is brought to you by BarbecueData.com. BarbecueData.com is your one-stop shop for all of your barbecue competition data. Historical data, calls, wins, placements, everything under one roof. It's a great way not only to track yourself in the standings, but also to track how you improve your scores from year to year. Listeners of this podcast can receive 20% off of a new subscription to barbecuedata.com with the code PITPOD. That's one word, all capital letters, PITPOD, PITPOD. So check your team scores, check on others, and do it all on barbecuedata.com. So let's get into it about habits, rituals, and routines. Are you a superstitious guy?
I used to be, not so much anymore. I
No?
really don't. No, I'm just like, it is what it is. If it's a same T-shirt or backwards hat or just doing something on a Tuesday or this, it's just my it's changed over the years. I really don't get into any superstitions anymore. So it's easier that way, I think.
I think you're 100% right, but there's like 3 that I can't get rid of. And
Oh, let's hear them.
I
Seriously?
got to have my Blues Hog wristbands.
There you go.
If I don't put those on, then I feel like something's wrong. My blue bandana, which I almost swapped out this week for the tire smoke bandana that the guys got me. And I couldn't pull the trigger. And then, of course, my underwear thing. You know, I have 5 pairs that are acceptable for competition. So,
Oh wow, just for comfort or just for?
I have over 130 pairs of MeUndies.
That's incredible.
I have different sets for the holidays. It's terrible. But there are 5 pair that are the lucky pair that have all won contests, and it's yeah,
That's incredible. That's incredible.
it's terrible. It's terrible.
Oh man, yeah.
And
I don't think I had. I used to. I used to be superstitious, like watching sports or whatnot, and you got your favorite T-shirt, but no, in the barbecue, I just no. It just seems a little easier not worrying about it. Like one less thing to worry about.
dude, I watched the same movie Trimming Chicken for 2 years. I'd watch Burnt with Bradley Cooper.
Oh yeah,
Just because he's so violent and so exacting that I'm like, especially when we were running for Chicken Team of the Year, like I had to watch that movie just so somebody was being a dick to me while I was prepping chicken.
Oh, that is awesome.
I've seen that movie 130 times probably.
Oh, that's so funny.
So I have lots of those things. I said 3, there's probably 100, but do you listen to music when you cook?
Yeah, I'm a big music guy, man. Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely one of my things that I need to have pumped up very loud. Yeah, for
What
sure.
are we listening to?
I'm listening to a little bit. It's funny you brought up chicken. If I'm seasoning chicken, it's Little Feet. A little chicken. I listen to I listen to a little bit of everything. Especially in the trailer. Big Stones guy.
Nice.
Love the Rolling Stones. Yeah, actually that was a 1-2. Bart Steve, he brought up Led Zeppelin or Stone. Actually, I probably brought it. I like to push the button sometimes. Stones or Zeppelin, and he was just like, "Are you kidding me?" It's like it's not even close. So definitely a Stones guy. Love my Grateful Dead. They put me in that good, that afternoon mood right before awards. I listen to it all. It's big. I love cooking and listening to music. It's important to me.
It's important to me too. And this weekend was awesome because it wasn't awesome because Kim wasn't there, but it was awesome that I could put music on at 5 a.m. and not wake anybody up.
Right.
Put on my morning jams and just let it go while I was doing, and it was pretty neat. It was.
Oh, that's awesome. Who's your go-to?
I'm primarily 80s, 90s gangster rap.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but there's a lot of different stuff in there. Like there's some Old Crow, there's a lot of Zeppelin, there's a lot of
No Stones.
a lot of Stones, a lot of
Good,
Beatles,
good.
especially on my Friday list. I have a Friday list and a Saturday list.
Very cool.
Yeah, and then we have a list for each meet. So
Cool. My wife, we're big fish fans too. So she always loved. You're probably not familiar, but they have a song called "The Meat Stick," and whenever we're slicing brisket, she'll go on there and throw it on. It's a really cheesy song, but she loves it. So whenever we get the brisket slicer out, she throws on some Meat Stick, and then Dixie chicken from Little Feet. If I'm seasoning chicken and I just crank. We have an awesome sound system. If I crank some Little Feet Dixie chicken, it gets me in the mood to cook some chicken.
I can't believe that I'm going to have to go listen to a Fish song.
Oh no! I wouldn't require. No. Nobody should have to be forced to listen to Fish.
I'm going to listen to it because I
I
got to have frame of reference, but I don't want to. I want you to know
it's really
that.
it's a very cheesy song. She loves it. We see Fish all the time, so I give her that for sure. It's definitely cheesy though.
Have you ever met Chris Hart from IQ?
No, I don't think so.
You need to. He's a big Fish guy too.
Oh, good. Well, hell
Loves
yeah, we
it.
need to meet.
Yeah, he's an amazing cook and just all around great guy. And he's always trying to talk to me about fish, and I'm like, that
It's
stuff passed me by. I don't know why.
no, it's hard to convert people. It's almost impossible. So I stay in my little zone of fish, and I don't really reach out and say, hey, you
Nah.
should listen to this.
Hey, that's cool though. Music, and we were just talking today that we have to get the trailer. Tim blew out my speakers 3 years ago, and yeah, it just now needs to be a full experience again instead of just a little Bluetooth speaker. I'm tired of it. So,
Oh yeah, the Bluetooth little speaker. It just doesn't do the same. No.
no, but you also have to be conscious of your music choices when cooking in Harrisburg, PA, and there's Amish people around. The NWA does not go over well.
80s and 90s gangster rap. That's hilarious. Like Eazy-E. Like, do you like?
Oh yeah,
Oh, it's so aggressive.
I had to hit next track a couple times. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure.
that's not cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like back in eighth grade or whatever. I mean, what's Tupac? Who else? Dr. Dre.
Tupac, Dr. Dre, Notorious B.I.G. Listen to a lot of that.
Feeling it. That's awesome. Good for you, man.
A lot of Milli Vanilli, a lot of Prince.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I get into that kind of stuff, but I don't go full 80s. That's my wife.
Yeah.
She has some gems on there, but sometimes I'm just
Like
a little
Tears
too
for
much.
Fears. What else is some really cheesy? Who else?
I will rock out some Cyndi Lauper if it comes down to it. Makes me happy.
You just want to have fun, man.
Exactly. So your competition planning week, when you're getting ready for a contest, do you try and do things the same day? Like, do you trim chicken the same day, make injections and all that stuff, or is it just kind of when you get to it?
No, especially at my job, man. We are busier than hell. We feed a lot of people in a day, and you don't know who's going to take off or what kind of parties you're going to have. So I'm crossing my fingers this week. Hopefully I can bang a bunch of this stuff out on Wednesday.
Nice.
Yeah, like chicken's obviously the one that takes the longest. Pork's pork, brisket's brisket, ribs are ribs. But yeah, I got my little prep sheet that I follow, and it doesn't take me too much time. But if I could do it Wednesday, that'd be awesome. And I also love, especially for a 1 day competition, to get those boxes out of the way. I typically roll into a competition later. Fridays, we have some good local ones, but it's tough for me to get to a competition early.
Yeah.
So I'm there at 4, maybe, no later than 4. But I love to have those boxes done and just do a little flip flop. And that's like, if I can get my kale boxes done, I'm way happy. I'm ahead of the game.
Do you just say kale?
Yeah.
You take it back. And don't let
No.
my wife hear that because I switched to parsley and she wants to go back to kale, and you just won the Royal twice. And now she's going to make me go back to kale.
No, dude, I agree because I used to do parsley too, and it's so much nicer. Like when you plate it up, especially with sliced brisket, it just
Yeah.
kind of it's a nice little fluff, and it just yeah. I get so frustrated sometimes where I'm just like I knew I should have just. Sometimes I just do, parsley for brisket just because it just lays so much nicer. And I changed up my pork box where I can it kind of a little tighter, and the kale doesn't really move around as much.
Yeah.
But no, with that brisket box for sure, man, it lays a whole lot nicer.
She hates it so much.
It does. It takes a long time for sure.
It does. I made 4 this weekend for the first time in a long time. Rough. It was rough.
Yeah.
So you've cooked 10 contests this year.
Yeah.
You've won 5 of them. This 2 weeks ago, you beat 750 of the best teams in barbecue over a 2-day period. What's it going to be like when you go to Punkin Chunkin and maybe finish third?
That's what me and my wife were talking about because it's just sometimes pumpkin chunkin is just too much of a get to say hi to everybody.
Right.
It's a great time because everybody stays Saturday night. It's kind of the last cook for everybody. So I'm
Yeah.
showing up Friday with a fryer. I'm doing walleye. I'm just
Nice.
we're gonna have a great, and the weather's gonna be great. Perfect time of the year, so I get to see all my good friends. So more or less, I mean, I was like, babe, I mean, let's hit 15 and just come back down to earth, and it's just like, seriously.
And
So
and I didn't want to ask that. It seemed like being a jerk about it because it wasn't. I didn't mean for it to come off that way if it did. Because
no, not even close.
okay, good. Because what you did was so phenomenal. But I mean, the adrenaline high from that, and then I had it at Harrisburg. You know, pulling into the parking lot, and there's like I'm the fourth team there, and it's 10 o'clock, and then everybody gets there. There's 25 teams, and I'm like, well, this isn't like last week,
Right? Yeah, not even close. No.
where is everybody? What's
Yeah.
happening? And it's you kind of get a little PTSD from the Royal because it's just so much, and but it's so much fun too. It is, and I've told Kim that we'll go every year whether we're qualified for the Invitational or not. I just love it so much and love being there.
Oh, I can't feel the same way. I can't wait to bring my wife next year because she missed out this year, so I cannot
Oh
wait to
no, I
bring.
did not know that.
Yeah, yeah. So it would have been just too much for her to get out there, and with our 1.5 year old, it would have
Yeah,
just been too much going on. And I wanted to get out there early just because I didn't know, the size of. I was just nervous about getting in, just get set up. Could have been easier, but no, she was awesome. She totally understood. But we can't wait till next year because she loves barbecue. That's my partner in crime. She's there every other weekend with me, and yeah, we're looking forward to going back out there for sure.
it's people always ask, how do you do this with your spouse? And I'm like, I wouldn't do it with anybody else.
That's for damn sure. Yeah.
It's how we spend time together. It's how we've made friends across the country. And there's nobody that I trust more in that trailer than her. So, it's awesome. I love meeting other husband and wife teams, man. That's great.
No, no, couldn't agree with you more. And she's got that palate, she knows when
Right.
tenderness is out, and she'll give you can see it in her eyes. She doesn't want to be mean, but you can see it in her eyes. I don't know. It's there, but it's not great. You know what I mean? So it's great to have her doing these competitions with me, and we got to figure something out because Rob needs to participate in these things, but it's tough to bring a little dude along.
Yeah, but as he gets older, that'll get easier.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely. He can start making boxes.
yeah, I wish Kim would take a page out of your wife's book and be nicer. I'll hand her something. She's like, nope. Jeez. Thanks.
That's when I would just start overthinking everything. I'm like, oh gosh, maybe she's right, and then I would just yeah,
Well, and I've learned that she usually is.
yeah. That's awesome.
And if she says something needs more of this, then I generally will listen. I'll try a piece first, but she's usually right. I'd say 95% of the time.
Good for you, man. That sounds like an awesome duo.
Yeah, and we have a lot of fun. That's
I, I
that's
saw
the
it on
main
Food
thing.
Network. You guys were awesome. Very entertaining.
They cut out all the dancing parts, which were it's kind of the thing. That's kind of what we do, and I danced a lot this weekend by myself. People were just like, "What the hell's wrong with this guy? He's by himself, dancing around a parking lot, just being an idiot."
That's awesome.
But I missed her, so I had to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Grant, it's been amazing, but we do have the rapid fire questions.
Okay, I'll try my best.
And I just can't be more impressed by you. I got to tell you that you're just a humble, awesome guy. I can't wait to see you next time, have some beers and hang out. And
No, I agree. I loved you. I didn't know a ton about. I obviously knew who you were, but I loved you on the show. And the couple of times that we've crossed paths. I mean, you gave me a sticker in that pork line out there. And
I did, didn't I?
so
Yeah.
thanks for the sticker, bro. Appreciate it. But yeah, man, you seem down to earth, and yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on, for sure.
Absolutely. So, first question's kind of a rough one. What do you see about barbecue on social media that upsets or bothers you?
I don't do a ton of social media, so this is an easy one. Um, yeah, I don't do I don't know,
Ah,
nothing really.
keep it that way, man. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
we really don't. I did it for a couple years ago because I was just into the food scenes and everybody out there, not necessarily barbecue, but everybody. But I just found myself on my phone too much,
Yeah.
it was just it was too much, and there's other shit to do. So no, I really don't. But I like seeing people kind of post their trophies and they give
Oh,
shout outs to who won. So no, I don't think. Why, do you have something that you don't like that people do?
I had the complaining about judging and this, that, and the
Oh
other,
yeah,
that
I
kind of
don't.
stuff. Kind of
Yeah,
bothers, it is what it is. We know what we're getting into, and that's going
yeah.
to happen to all of us. So I don't know. There's lots of different answers to that question. The people that get on there and put a video of squeezing the juice out of brisket, that bothers a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? You're not doing
I,
anything. You're
I
just,
agree with that. But people take some really good videos and pictures. I'm impressed. I couldn't do that. I had to ask my 23-year-old buddy that I work with. I'm like, if we do start like a little, like Instagram page or whatever, could you help me out? And he's like, yeah, check this out. And he's like, I'm like, these videos are just incredible what they can do with these phones. It's awesome.
oh, it's amazing. The phones, you remember when we had an actual camera?
Yeah,
And now your phone's like 3,000 times better camera than that
it's
camera ever was. It's amazing.
it's incredible.
Okay, next question. What is one of you, do you have a favorite pre, during, or post competition meal?
So I do pizzas. We cook pizzas, not all the time, but sometimes on Friday nights. So we that's one of my passions, especially growing up where I grew up. It's some of the best pizza in the country out there, and especially in Philly and New York. And
Yeah.
I got so sick and tired of pizza out here. Like it's just I just can't do it. My wife loves it, and I'm just like, you know what? Because we do pizza at work every Friday. And I was like, I'm just gonna grab a couple doughs from work and bring them out. We just throw them on the drum, and we toast them up, slice them, and people go nuts for them. So, yeah, pizza for sure if I'm doing it. Other than that, anything that's not just a hassle to pack, like
Right.
an Italian wrap or something easy.
My favorite thing is chips and salsa.
There you go.
I gotta have chips and salsa in the trailer.
You can't beat it.
Nah, I love it. Do you have a favorite present that you like to give to people?
Favorite present that I like to give to people. Wow. No, that's a good question. A favorite present that I give to people. No, I don't know. I've never. You threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I always love to spoil my wife when I can. But yeah, present to give to people. Oh, I don't know. Help me out. What's your present?
I'm famously known for sending other dudes underwear, the underwear that I buy. Yeah. I've got some converts out there, some people that they now have the subscriptions to, and they're like, it's really weird that you do that. I'm like, I know. It
That's
is.
that's incredible. You just love underwear. It's just like that's your
They're
thing.
game changers, man. They're so nice and comfortable and soft and moisture wicking and just amazing.
What brand is it?
Me undies.
Me undies. I have to look
Yeah.
them out.
Well, you might, as one of my favorite podcast guests, you might be getting a pair. It'd be weird. Gino will be like,
Sorry, I couldn't answer. Actually, if we talk again, I have to think about that. That's a question. That's a serious question. I don't know.
the next one's just as serious, so we might have to.
Oh no.
If you could
Oh,
have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, getting a message out to millions or billions, what would it say and why?
oh wow. I thought we were doing a barbecue podcast. That's incredible. I have nothing witty or clever to say right now. I,
See, I told you it was going to be different than the other ones.
yeah, yeah. Have you asked this question before?
I've asked this question of every one of my guests.
Really? I listened to a couple the past couple. Past
I
couple
didn't
days.
ask this to Johnny. because I didn't want a bad answer.
Yeah, right. No kidding. No kidding. Absolutely. Oh, that is so funny. Again, that is. I don't want to get too deep. I've had a couple cocktails tonight. I don't want to. That's another. That's a great question. And I don't want to sound like an idiot and say something stupid. So, man, I would love to think about it a little bit more. I'm probably overthinking it, exactly what I do, with everything in life. So that's incredible. Can you give me your answer?
My favorite answer is Darren's, which was buy more Smokey D's barbecue.
There you go. Absolutely.
And I was like, you know what? You can't really argue with that. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I'm horrible. That is just, I'm going to overthink that. And then if I say something stupid, then people are going to crush me. So
I come up with a different one every day. So it's fun. It's fun. But yeah, man, thanks for being on.
Yeah. This is awesome, man. I appreciate it. I felt we were just hanging out, talking. This is a good, man. I appreciate it.
And I know that you've had a great few weeks, and can't wait to come out there. And we're going to get out to the Midwest a few times next year. I think. I know we're going to go back to Westland, Michigan. That was a cool contest. I hope that I can do.
Have you done Belvedere?
I've not done Belvedere, and I've heard that I need to do that one. And I want to do.
That's a double with just tons of space and tons of. It's a great competition. It's an easy one to get into. Belvedere. That's a good competition.
And I want to do Murfreesboro again, just because Kim's never been. So I really want to get her out there so she can experience that and go to 17th Street and just be a part of it.
Oh, it's a blast. Are you doing the Invitational?
The KCBS?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately. That's I have 2 rehearsal dinners and a wedding that weekend. So
good for you.
Yeah, I'm in a GC 3 times, so it'll be good.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, Grant, thank you so much for being on, man.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome, man. It's my pleasure. I really appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for listening to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Be sure to subscribe and like the podcast, rate the podcast, and to share it out with all your friends. Also, be sure to check out the Old Virginia Smoke YouTube channel as well. Tune in next week for another great episode of Pitmaster. For companies interested in advertising, please contact Old Virginia Smoke directly via www.oldvirginiasmoke.com. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is edited by Chris Sedenka. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is a property of Old Virginia Smoke, LLC. All rights reserved. Copyright 2022.
Old Virginia, Old Virginia Smoke. Old Virginia, Old Virginia Smoke. Oh, yes. Old Virginia, Old Virginia Smoke.